Well, hello, Samson family. We have an exciting announcement today. Some of you guys have probably heard some of the rumors, but the wonderful Dustin and Devon Fox and Fox Homes have come to join our Samson family, and we are just elated. And we thought we'd do an interview here and get to know the Foxes and all the great things they're up to, and kind of how now they're coming to our Samson family. So welcome, Dustin. Welcome, Devon.
Thank you.
Great to have you guys on board and in the Samson family.
We're excited to be here.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, we love to, husband and wife combo, and you guys have had, I know a little bit more than I'm letting on here, but you guys had careers before this. So I'd love to know a little bit of kind of how'd you get into real estate? How'd you, what different careers brought you together to the point that now you got one of the best teams in the area?
Well, it started for me before real estate. It was 17 years of retail management, district manager, store manager for Bed Bath & Beyond, Pottery Barn for a long time. Before that, 7 years.
Pottery Barn. So you got an eye for stuff?
Well, I should. People are always like, "Oh, your house must look amazing," and I'm like, it's like real estate. I'm like, I'm just really good at this,
right.
But I don't necessarily love it. Like, I was never really into design.
Gotcha.
But I was like, I was used to managing large groups of people. But I didn't want to have a boss anymore.
Right.
And that's why I decided to get into real estate.
So you got into real estate how many years ago?
9 1/4.
Okay.
And that was 2015. And I've always kind of bounced ideas off of Devon. So even before she was licensed, I was like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Because we have very different personalities and opinions, and she kind of touches and makes everything better. So around me being... Yeah.
Starting with you.
Yeah. Around me being licensed for about 18 months, and that's when...
Yep. So before real estate, I was the director of operations for an engineering company locally. And actually, our office was just literally across the street from the Chantilly office. And so I was there for 12 years and had my own team that I managed there. And then when, he was seeing success early on in real estate, and I was kind of coming at a crossroads with my company, I decided to get my license. And that was about, he said, 18 months later.
So probably 7.5, 8 years ago.
Yep.
That's fantastic. So husband and wife, you guys work a ton together.
We're
you
always
live together. You're always together. How's that go? Most of the time, pretty good?
Yeah. I mean, we definitely, it took some, because he was in management in his prior life, and
sure.
I
and
was
you were
as
in
well.
management as well.
So it was very difficult for us to come in and be just partners and not
sure.
Try to manage the other person. So we had to fall into our natural.
Well, the good part is you two, because I've got to know you guys a lot, you guys are very different in personality. So it is easier to find lanes that you're both really good in that kind of help you guys thrive and succeed. So at least that
he definitely
helps.
takes the sales marketing lead, and then I'm more operations.
Right. So that kind of falls into place a little bit. So I buried the lead a little bit, but your team, you kind of started, so you've got a husband and wife, and Devon joined you, and you started kind of individually as solo agents, but you've grown, and now your team is, if not number one, you're in the top 5 and top 10 of everybody's list in the whole DMV and crushing it out there. But how do you go from solo agent to partners to kind of saying, hey, we're going to start growing a team? Like, what does that thought process look like 5, 6, 7 years ago? And I know it's really only been the last few years that it's kind of accelerated a lot, but talk me through kind of how the Fox Homes team started to grow.
Well, it was right during COVID, right?
21.
Yeah, 21. And it helps being a yapper. Devon and all the
Our
girls.
Our daughter says he's a certified yapper.
Yeah, certified yapper.
I'd agree.
And I had always done a lot of recruiting at our previous brokerage, and I had been telling myself this story of I got into real estate so I didn't have to manage people anymore. I was sick of people's complaints. When I went from Bed Bath & Beyond to Pottery Barn, I thought I don't have to deal with HR issues anymore, because I was managing a much older scale, interior designing women, but it was the exact opposite. They were like Gertrude stole my sofa sale. So I just wanted to be responsible for myself.
Did you actually have employees named Gertrude?
No, I'm just throwing out an old name.
Their alias.
I didn't want to mention somebody specific in case they're watching. But I kept saying to myself, I just want to manage ourselves.
So that's why you resisted a team for a few years. It was just
for a long time,
five-ish years.
And I get about 20,000 steps just being on the phone, and like I can't help but like I'm just a natural leader, and people would call me for advice on listings. Hey, what would you do? My house has been on the market for 3 months. How would you market it differently? And I'm always on the phone with a lot of the people that I would recruit, and I get off, and Devon's like, you have a team. You just don't.
You're not getting compensated.
You're not getting compensated
it's not
for
structured
it.
that way.
No, I would literally sit on the couch working, and then he would just like be on the phone, just like circling our main level. On
Like
the
a
phone.
dog puts tracks in a yard.
And,
That's me.
And so, yeah.
So
I
like,
start a team.
so you're sort of go, why? We need to figure out a compensation and structure this more, because you naturally want to help people and want to help them succeed, whether you want to manage them or not. I think we should. That's kind of where that started.
So she kind of gave me that nudge into doing it, and we, did a post, and we had 54 agents apply to be one of the original 8 team members during an interview process, and that's where it started in 2021. And now we have 30 agents and going to do like about $200 million this year by the end of the year.
Whew, that's pretty good. And starting the team 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, roughly. And went from 0 to $1 million or 200 million, I guess. I guess in theory. So what is that? So 30 people. What is that? What are some of the real big wins? Obviously, there's production numbers, but I think across the way, going from you two to 30 agents and over 200 million. I know at times you've had team members, even number of agents, even more on the team, and you kind of try to find that sweet spot and grow from there. But what are some of like the success points that you've seen, not just production wise, but some of the internal wins maybe in the last couple of years of growing this team?
Reviews. We got everybody to buy in early on. Like if you're a solo agent and you have a Google business profile and say you have 25 or 50 reviews, there's like zero differentiation there. So getting a team together to be able to buy into the team concept, to say, I'm going to sacrifice my own self-interest and instead of having 26 reviews, I'm going to like put these to the team. And like, I don't want to get too technical, but I'm able to use that Google review schema on every blog, on every site. So when somebody Googles any team member on our page, they say Donna Chong or Faith Saunders, realtor, they'll see 1,830 reviews under that agent's name. So that's everybody else, so that's our biggest accomplishment, is we're the number one review team in the entire country. So that was part of our plan, is let's go year one to
number one review team in the country. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. That is a focus on it. So I love it. Sorry, cut you off, but that was a good one. You just kind of dropped in there.
Very the lead.
Yeah, so like that was our goal first, to go from year 1 to year 3 to become the number one review team, and then to leverage those reviews from a social proof standpoint to become the number one volume team in like year 5 to 10. And that's our goal, and that's why we're here.
That's fantastic. So along the way, a lot of our agents have probably seen you in a couple different places, but one thing you have is you wrote a book, which is amazing, 6 Weeks to Real Estate Success with Dustin Fox, and I'm learning that Devon also had a lot of help in that as well. She didn't say co-author
major
status,
editing,
but major editor, Devon Fox. But
not just editing, like entire chapters. She's being modest. This is just who she is, but she wrote a lot.
There you go. Well, you should have said Devon around marketing. It would have probably done even better. No, I'm just kidding. But so you wrote a book, and Ambitious Agents is part of the National Guide for Ambitious Agents, and you have a podcast, and what's that called?
Ambitious Agent.
There you go. We'll tie it all together. And it's a great watch. It's video based, right?
Yeah, video and audio. Yeah.
So
wherever you can get
podcasts. And it's YouTube, right?
A lot of episodes.
I feel like every time I log in, I get Devon as well. I thought it was just Dustin when it started. Every time I log in, I get Devon now. So.
It's I mean, he's really likes to be front and center,
Sure.
with the speaking engagements, the book, the video, all of these things, but he drags me into it.
I think Devon says that a lot, but she happens to be showing up a little bit more and more, but that's great. So you guys have a great synergy in it.
Yeah.
It was funny, one day we talked, and I was literally had just been on driving, and I was like, I tuned into the podcast, like, let's see what they're talking about this week. And I was like, I literally was just listening to you and Devon, on the radio. But, so how's that going? And what's the kind of the goals of the podcast? What made you think about that? And
the goal for the podcast was, as a book promotion vehicle.
Sure.
But I just I have all of these ideas. Like I am absolutely obsessed with real estate and real estate marketing specifically. It's all I think about. I listen to different podcasts. I read a business biography a week. I'm getting all of these ideas from different industries and thinking about how I can incorporate them into real estate. And then I like to just share that because I don't want there to be any gatekeepers. Sure. I don't want people to necessarily have to pay, $1,500 a month for coaching. I'm like, this is the best time to be a real estate agent ever between podcasts, YouTube, my book, all the coaching and everything that you have. The bad news is you have no excuse. Sure. You need to learn the stuff.
It's a good point. There's so much information out there, but most people sit in silence. They don't absorb any of it. They don't try to eat it up. They don't just dive in. What podcast, this is just me being curious here, but what else do you listen to? Real estate or just business?
My favorite podcast is Founders. That's where I get a lot of my business biographies. And that's not real estate related. But I do like Knowledge Broker, a lot of the BAM stuff.
Okay.
I like Pantana on his marketing podcast with Tom Ferry.
Cool.
Just a few of them.
Just drop a couple things you can listen to after you listen to Ambitious Agents, of course.
Yes, please subscribe.
So I actually first met Dustin at an NV, Northern Virginia Real Producers back at Chantilly Country Club years ago. And it's probably 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. And you were doing A/B testing on Facebook ads. And to me, I'm sitting there, frankly, I've got some staff that were paying in the crowd. I'm like, why does this guy know more than everybody that's sitting in my staff here watching? But I'm like, I felt like at the time you were light years ahead of the real estate marketing that I was seeing or being that was shown to me, it was around. So you just love real estate marketing. So you were diving into it back then.
Yes.
At what point did you move from Facebook? Or are you still big on Facebook? Or what are kind of that marketing? What's your real estate marketing? What's your thing now, I guess?
So our thing now, our team's kind of unique selling proposition is every single seller, they're going to get with any agent between 2 and 10,000 views between Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor. We call that of course marketing. Just putting it in the MLS, it's going to aggregate to those websites. You're going to get that. We give every seller 100,000 views, and it's one thing to tell a seller
100,000,
100,000
as opposed to 2 to 10,000, 100,000.
Yeah, so we like to 10 times it. And instead of a lot of agents will say, I'm sending postcards out and, we're going to do that too. It's part of our marketing strategy. But there's a lot of things that agents say that there's no way for the seller to verify.
Sure.
Because they don't know how many you actually send. If they could get one, but they don't know how many neighbors actually received it. So for us, every single week, all of our agents get a Monday update report for every listing. It shows them all of the ads that they're running, all the stats from the ads. It's written in their name, and all the ads are run by us. So they then provide that to the seller with any messaging they want, but it's a promise kept every single week that we're going to give that.
That's fantastic. I love that. And some of the main, how do you get to 100,000? Are there certain websites that are getting seen more, and you don't have to give away all your secrets?
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, I don't mind. It's all in the book.
Give me a dip of it.
So it's a combination of Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube TV.
Okay.
And I would say Facebook and Instagram, much lower cost per view. YouTube TV, much higher cost per view, but a much bigger impact. Okay. Because when we met 6-7 years ago, I've been running Facebook ads for 9 years now. And for 9 years of running Facebook ads, I've never had a client screenshot one of my ads and text it to me and say, hey, I just saw your ad. Because to them, it's just in their feed.
Sure.
They don't think anything of it. But when you show up, when their own home shows up on their TV or their neighbor takes a photo of their house and sends it to them,
that's powerful.
You are never losing that listing.
No.
So, and that's what we do. We micro target and do a broader target, 2 separate ads. So the neighbors see it. And Facebook and Instagram, they're still doing their whole HUD lawsuit 15-mile radius. You can't go smaller than that.
Okay.
But on YouTube, you can do from the address 1 mile. And you can force every neighbor to see that the same weekend you have an open house, and then you can go broader to actually expose the property.
That's crazy. So YouTube, because YouTube and YouTube TV are different things, right?
Well, when you run them as a Google ad, it's hitting them both.
Okay.
So
that's my teaching me now, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And the stats of that is mostly they're showing up on TV.
Okay.
So not just like a phone or
Right.
a computer or whatever. It's
But either
TV.
way, you
So
can micro-target that advertising.
yeah, so
a lot
it's
more.
reading as commercial, and it is
That's
a commercial.
And the pushback we normally get is, oh, well, my clients aren't on YouTube or YouTube TV. They're like, the average seller in the US is now 60 years old. So they're
Right.
thinking they're never going to see this. But it's like, I think 35 or 40% of our views are 55 plus.
Really?
So, and I know because, we get videos. I get videos from your mom. She's sending me YouTube videos all the time. Like they're watching YouTube.
Sure. Sometimes they don't know they are, but they are. They just click something and they were watching it.
Yeah.
That's excellent. We gotta jump in.
No, I was just. My mom lives in South Riding, and our agent in that area is Donna Chong, and
Gotcha.
so she's like, "I love Donna's videos. I see them every day." So
Well, that's
she's
great.
vegan
You have
first.
an actual person out in the marketplace that
Right.
can verify,
Yeah.
right?
But we get that too. I mean, Dustin and I market Centerville. Well, he
Mhm.
does all the marketing for us, but if we go out and about, I mean, we walk our dog, we'll go to the coffee shop, whatever. People come up to us all the time and say they see our videos.
And that's the idea is like we say we want to make our agents micro famous in 3 months. And the way that we do that is we have a video studio. They come in once a month. We have a templated commercial that they film for their city. So we give exclusive rights to a specific city. So we have 15 agents right now that have exclusive rights to specific cities. It doesn't mean that if I have a South Riding listing that I have to give it to Donna. It means I'm not going to be running my ads
in there, right?
over there to compete with
Sure.
her. I want her to be seen as like to have all the visibility there.
Right.
So
They
they
grow that farm, but you can still do business anywhere. But you want to give people an area that they can thrive and grow in.
Yeah.
But we know real estate, you're going to sell anything anywhere.
But yeah, we have the templated commercial that they shoot with our videographer that's very specific to a city. So like where we're in Centerville, we're standing in front of Sully Station. We're standing in front of Virginia Run, like recognizable places. And we have specific lines there. They do the same thing in their city. Then they come in once a month and they film their market update. So it's like, Chantilly homeowners, here's your market update in 60 seconds. 60 seconds. And it's in the teleprompter in the script. And they just come in and film it. We set it
awesome.
up and we help them run the
Look
ads.
like it's running through, and they're the expert when it comes to their marketing their homes. They're running updates. They're running
And
video.
it's pretty collaborative because they have their own city, so they're
Sure.
not, being.
Yeah, they have an abundant mindset because
They can help others because they're not really directly competing.
Right.
exactly they're like they'll just steal the script from somebody else and change the facts in it.
Sure. Sure. Borrow. Steal's good. It's fine. Last November, we were blessed. You spoke at our Top Producer Takeover event, and it was really Chat GPT with like a little bit of an AI tilt to it. We're just over a year from then. Last October, I guess he spoke. Have you dove more into that level of your business, or is there something you're doing with that or not with that with your team right now?
Yeah, I mean, we've gone deeper into it. I think there was a lot of worry from people initially putting AI generated content on their website and how Google would penalize them. That worry is no longer. Google actually has, like, they're encouraging people to use Gemini, their version of ChatGPT, for website content. So you obviously have to edit it, but we have VAs that are running it. And the beauty, this goes kind of back to the video. When they come in for the market update, they send it up to our VA that does the editing. And then that VA sends it to another VA and writes a blog with those stats, and obviously using smart charts and other things, and writes a blog under that agent's name. And then they send it to the agent to approve it. And then it gets, put on our website with our Google review schema. So if somebody Googles Chantilly housing market, that article looks like it has 1,830 reviews because our Google review schema is on it, and like the search engine results page. So that has like just skyrocketed our organic traffic and our organic leads.
That's crazy. So smart. I feel smarter just listening to what he's saying. I'm sure I understand all of it, but I feel a lot smarter. No, I do. I get it. It's all tying together, and that's where you're trying to the internet and some of these algorithms and the chat GPTs and the AIs and the videos and the Googles and the YouTubes, they're all so smart if you figure out how to use them so they're all benefiting you in one force together, adding all different things is kind of what I would say.
Well, yeah, and I would say like this SEO course, like there's nothing sold in the book. There's like a 30-minute video that will teach you how to do this, but I just want to be clear to agents that are watching this that this is not the priority. Like your priority is to make phone calls and get in front of people, do open houses and get in front of people. This is like when you're at another level of your business, or you can afford, like you watch this video and you can afford to pay a VA, $5, $6 a month to do this for you.
Right.
What? An hour.
$5, $6 a
month. No.
It's still cheap, but not quite that cheap. And I think that was kind of going to pivot to my next point is, I love picking your brain about the marketing because you guys do a fantastic job with that. But, you talk about calls, you talk about open houses, you talk about the real estate stuff that leads to 200 million or 350 sales, whatever you guys are going to do this year and more. And that number is just going up and up and up. What is the best lead sources for your team? I mean, I guess it's the Google, some of this stuff, but what makes it work? Like, what do is it just kind of the fundamentals when you actually get the client, or kind of what are some of the great things you guys are doing in that sense?
Well, the two major lead sources are Google PPC and then...
it's pay-per-click.
Pay-per-click, yep.
And VA means virtual assistants for all those that are Googling VA every time he says that.
I know, I did that in his book. I was like, you got to explain all that little acronyms. And the Google Local Services.
Google Local Services.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because we're the #1 reviewed team in the country, we get a lot of incoming calls.
That's awesome.
And those generate a lot of leads.
That's fantastic. Go ahead.
So I think those are maybe 1 and 2, but I think probably still repeat and referral for our team.
Sure.
Normally when you have teams that are like really into tech or marketing like us, they kind of lose track of the client event side of it, or like the more Brian Buffini, Michael Mayer, 7 levels of communication style. Like, I feel like we do a really good job of bridging that gap of being like very high tech and modern with the marketing, but also like we had 1,100 people at our Cox Farm event like 2-3 weeks ago.
Yep.
So like we
work that back half as well. It's not just creating the client, closing it. We had Jared James at our TPT event, a couple weeks ago, and he talked about how really 10% of their life is that first transaction. 90% of the rest of their life is being their realtor for life. So you guys still focus a lot on that part as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a hybrid between the tech and the
person and the people.
Well, before the team,
contact.
like we did a lot of pop buys and gifts for our past clients, but I never wanted to do a client event because I was so afraid that either no one would show up or only the people that I didn't want to talk to would show up. So like
both valid fears.
So now that we have a large team, everybody is like, oh, this is great. Because like you have 1,100 people there. Everybody's going to be like, oh, wow, you've done a great job.
Sure. And you can avoid the people you don't want to talk to.
Oh, we're too busy.
Yeah, we're too busy.
It's like,
you have an excuse. You only got to be there 5 seconds. You can move to talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
So you said calls earlier, which was interesting to me. What does calls mean to you all? Because everybody has different. Like I'm not a cold caller. I've never cold called anybody in my life. But is it cold calling or is it calling databases? What does calls mean to you? I guess.
So like following up, we're not like a Zillow Flex team.
Yep.
So typically with a Zillow Flex, it's like 50-50 or lower split wise, like 40-60 or 35.
Sure.
So our leads have a lower conversion rate. Typically Zillow's like 6 to 11, 12%. Because they're incoming phone calls. It's a harder thing to kind of mess up. Our leads are 1 to 2% conversion rate at pay-per-click, but we're able to give them to the agents. They keep 60, we keep 40.
Gotcha.
So that requires a lot more follow-up because
so you're
they're
calling all these Google pay-per-clicks like you're talking about. That's the calls. You're getting mass hit by more leads than maybe Zillow, but maybe a lower hit rate, but you're getting a lot of leads.
Yeah, and they're just a different level of the funnel because they're Googling like homes for sale in Ashburn. Mm-hmm. So like we can see what they're Googling when they come in, but it requires more follow-up because they're not calling that to, typically they're not
calling to buy something right now.
Exactly.
They were just poking around. Maybe it was learning, maybe they're a month away, maybe they're 12 months away, but they could have just been Googling something, right?
Yeah, the sweet spot for those are people that are moving to the area that don't have any relationships yet. So as long as they were, Googling homes for sale in Ashburn,
cities, right?
And then one of our Ashburn agents reaches out,
right?
They immediately
like I wouldn't do that in Aldi because I live in Aldi, I know, right? But if I'm moving to this area from somewhere else, then maybe I would do that. Gotcha. So, and then open houses. You do something really cool with open houses, and I don't know if you're willing to share this idea because you want to start doing it, but obviously open houses are the best way to continue to build your business because it's free, but
not ours,
not yours. So tell me what you guys do at open houses, which is awesome.
So I mean, we're not
everyone. I'm sure.
No, we're not. We
first weekend.
There were other agents in the area that were doing food truck catered open houses. I think we just kind of like. We take it another level where every open house we host, like people come in and they're like, as soon as we saw the Fox Homes team sign, we know there's going to be food. And whether it's catered, because we only do a food truck the first weekend.
Okay.
And, we're paying for that. And, when people see our food trucks, agents that are not on our team, they call me and they say, I did a food truck, but nobody really came in. And I'm like, well, it's not enough to have a unique selling proposition. Like you still have to sell it to the customer, meaning the neighbors. You have to advertise. And that's why we're so excited.
Bringing in a food truck's one thing, but advertising it.
Yeah, that's why we're so excited to be at Samson, because we were paying basically $1.40 for a white envelope first class stamp that invited them. We invite all the neighbors. And the way we explain it to the sellers is we're inviting the neighbors, and in the letter we say this is a true win-win.
Sure.
They typically come in and they say, hey, thank you so much, but like, why are you feeding us? And I say, hey, Donnie over there, he's your neighbor, but everybody else here, they're buyers, and they have no idea that you're the neighbors. So to them, this is just a really busy open house, and they're not crazy and I actually whisper this too. But I mean, you have to create a sense of desirability and make it feel busy. If you've ever been shopping yourself and you're the only one in the open house, you're like, I could probably save some money on this house. It doesn't have a lot of interest. So that's the idea. And it creates a buzz in the neighborhood.
Well, and those neighbors, I mean, how much more likely are they to call you someday to sell their house if you have this big food truck? This boy was like, I want that when I list my house. At least I would.
Yeah, that's the goal.
But now, practically for the same price, $1.50 mailed, I can send, what is it, 6, 8?
Yeah, you can send a lot more postcards and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's fantastic. Good thoughts there. So now, if it's not the first one, you just do cater. It's not this big a thing, but you want to make the open house an experience that people want to come to.
Yeah. Make everything kind of feel like a party.
Yeah.
Some music, some catering.
There you go. Dustin out front doing TikTok dances.
Oh yeah. No, he'll do like drone sometimes.
There you go.
Out front
there you go.
This way, but open houses can be boring, so at least make it interesting for everybody.
Sure.
Yeah, when they come in, it's a lot easier to if you're hosting a party and you've ever been to a party and you walk in and you don't know anybody but the host, and you're like feeling awkward, like who do I introduce myself to everybody? That's how people feel when they come into the open house. They're like, should I take off my shoes? Should I not? Right. So you greet everybody with a smile at the door, immediately put your hand out, shake their hand, and say, thank you so much for coming in. My name's Dustin. Here's the abridged version of the property real quick. I have some food here. Take a plate to go. And by the way, if you don't mind signing in on the iPad, before you leave, and that's it.
Right.
And then don't be afraid to ask for the business.
Right.
Like hand them your card and ask for the business.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, comes from some of you out there watching. Like, I could never do that, but some of it comes from comfort. Like the first time you did all this, it wasn't as easy as now. You've trained your agents you've done it. Now, how many of a lot of your agents doing the open house, the food truck too? Are they willing to jump in?
They all.
It's part of our listing presentation.
Good, I like that. I love that.
Everybody's bought in on everything. I mean, I get it. Like there's price points, and commissions that sometimes you're negotiating with somebody and they're like, hey, we have 3 tiers of our pricing, and they'll say, I want this, but I don't want to do this, so we take something off. And but we're not doing a food truck for like $100,000 condo.
No,
because we can't even get people in.
Can't even get people in to figure out where the condo is.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's been a win-win for you guys. All right, so the team's growing great. We're near the end of 2024 here. What are the next goals? I mean, I can't. I'm sure when you started this team 3 years ago, maybe you did. I think actually you did, because I talked to you at some point. But the success you guys have had to this point, you probably couldn't have even envisioned how quickly and how great it's been. But what are the goals for 2025, 2027? Like, where do we want Fox Homes to be? What's the goals?
What, in a month and a half after we get past the
No. Don't listen to her. We are hiring.
Yeah.
I like that.
We have, just reach out to us, because we do have people in specific cities. So we're excited to grow. We need a lot of agents in Maryland, DC, like Woodbridge South. We need people, and we have everything set up for your success in terms of the video studio,
targeted commercial,
everything. And that's where we're trying to grow. Ideally, we're at 30 agents now. I would like to be at 50 plus.
Devin's holding your breath. Holding your breath, that next number that was going to come out of his mouth.
I'd like to be at 50 plus by next week.
Oh, God.
I'm kidding, yeah. No, by the end of the year, goal-wise, I'd like to be like 225 to 250 million by the end of the year. But we've grown in sales 15 to 20% every year.
Sure.
And it's not like I'm not one of those people that like looks at my goals. Sure. I'm not a big business planner. I'm more of I'm in the boat paddling it every day.
And then you turn around 6 months, you're like, dang, we've done a lot. You know, and I think people ask me their goals with Samson, and you know, I probably should be better about having goals, but I don't have them. I just pedal real hard every day and try to do the best we can every day. And we look back and like, dang, we've done some cool stuff here. It's going good. So it sounds like you guys are kind of the same way. But you know, part of the reason for kind of coming to Samson was, I don't want to speak for you, was because we have a lot of agents, we have offices, and we have width of locations. So kind of that's your goal is we want to grow a team. Now, Devon might say, give us a couple weeks. Dustin might say, contact me today. But you can start having those conversations because your goal is to grow. And within Samson Properties.
Yeah, that was, exactly one of the main reasons we came over here was, service area, offices, a number of agents to support that growth.
For me, from the marketing side, from where we came from, the marketing and the tech is so far superior, and there's too many things to list. But like, just give you a small example of like, we've only been here a couple days, and it's already happening. Like we didn't have a showing team app before, and we have agents that have listings in like Stafford, Fredericksburg, and the agents are communicating with each other, and she's like, hey. Or Sama tells Leah, you should put this on the showing team app, your open house for next weekend, since you're going to be out of town.
Right.
She puts it up, and he's like, oh, don't forget to order your postcards for that open house, even though you can't be there.
Right.
And, it's just like the agents are talking, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe there's so much. It's almost overwhelming how much you guys offer.
It's like a fire hose coming at you.
I'm like, we need to prioritize one thing at a time and learn one system at a time.
Sky slope.
Don't be too scared of Sky Slope. We got you. I know.
We'll figure it out.
A new transaction software is probably the hardest part. Not that Sky Slope isn't mainstream and national, but that's the annoying part. We got to get through the organization part, right?
Yeah. That'll be fun.
The cool stuff up front. So you do want to grow that team. That sounds like the tech and the print and a lot of the organization is kind of some of the reasons you came to Samson. So they're going to be out there. They're going to be growing the Fox Homes team, and we're gonna make. Dustin said a lot of things here that were really awesome at marketing, so we're gonna have to have him dive into a couple of those at some point again as well. Because what I've always appreciated about you, even though you were at your previous brokerage, and obviously in the back of my mind, I always kind of wanted Dustin to come, but I think that you've always been collaborative and willing to share with everybody that don't just speak at Samson events. You've spoken at a million events and all over the place because. You wrote a book. Yes, maybe to make a couple of dollars, but it's also because you wanted to share, all the things that you've learned with everybody, which is great.
Well, that's really how the team grew so fast, was because he was so open with that training, all of these years. So he, was always being helpful, and
people saw that and they're like, I want to get to that. Like I'm sure people are watching this going, this sounds amazing. Like, his email box is filling up. We haven't put up the video out yet, I don't think. But so I think that we're really excited. You guys can tell even from this interview that why I've really started to like Dustin and Devon so much since I met him, and just how much more I thought they could add to our family. And I think it's going to be a win-win. I think Fox Homes is going to be able to take off even more than it has with our width and our services and all the great realtors out there can join. And I think we're going to benefit from just all the great knowledge and the great stuff you guys are going to bring to us. So it's awesome.
Appreciate it.
We're
excited.
Win. So thanks and welcome to the Fox Homes team. Make them feel welcome. Even if you want to join their team, still reach out and welcome them in. Like I know the SamFam will, but we're looking forward to even brighter things in 2025 for everybody at the end of 2024. So thank you and welcome Dustin and Devon, and you'll see them around, I'm sure, a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.